'Cause up here it's breakneck, paycheck, rat race, what's next? I'm tired of feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knows my name. My friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Hell, and you can keep your 9 to 5 after winter simple life.
Hey y'all, I kind of wanted to come out here real quick and do like a one-take video. Kind of talk about what's going on with us, what's happening in our life. It's been a really tough month for us here, this month of June. We, kind of came to a crossroad in our life, and had to make a very hard decision. Well, we had to make a decision which led to a very harder decision. We decided that we are going to pull out of Matco and we're going to shut our tool truck down. But we also decided that we're going to sell our 25-acre property that we live on. And that is the harder decision that we had to make. Tonight is actually our last night sleeping here on the property. We are going to go stay with Emmanuel's grandma, hopefully for 6, maybe 8 months. Hopefully no more than that. Maybe we'll be able to find 2 to 5 acres in a small house or something in our area. Emmanuel wants to stay around here. He was born and raised around here. But it's been a tough couple weeks, coming to grips with selling the property. Just this year we had really started working on the property, started working on our homestead. We started dreaming about our homestead. We'd sit down and look out across the pasture or the property and dream about what we can do with it. So it's just been tough, but one thing that gets us too is, this is the home where we brought Declan to when he was born. This is the only home he's ever known. The trailer alone, y'all know we live in a mobile home. Just this year, we started putting money into it and fixing it up. Renovating or remodeling, the inside of the trailer. If you've been with me since I've started this channel, y'all know that for the first 2 years of Declan's life, from 2019 to 2021, I suffered postpartum depression. And, in the midst of all that, some of the feelings I was feeling at that time was hatred for this trailer. I hated this trailer. But, since I've come out of my postpartum issues and I'm in a better state of mind, we started working on the trailer, remodeling it. I love this trailer now. This is my home. This is something that we started working hard on to get to how we love it. So we're having to leave this behind as well, and that's pretty sad. Another sad thing is, y'all, if y'all have been following me for a while, y'all know earlier this year we lost my dog Emma. I had her for 15 years since I was a teenager. She was my best friend. We buried her just over there in the grove of trees over there, next to where my mom's dog is buried. They were good friends, played together, what have you. Well, in selling the property, we're leaving her behind, and for a while, just thinking about that would instantly make me cry. That's why I never picked up a camera, not just thinking about Emma, but just, we had some emotional outbursts. Both me and Emmanuel had some emotional outbursts over the last couple weeks. I don't like crying in front of people, and I definitely don't want to be crying in front of a camera in front of hundreds of people. So I just never picked up a camera. We were going through some emotional turmoil because of this decision. We're all right now. It's just, we still have sad times, but it is what it is. It'll be all right. God's got us. He's taken care of us this long, and he'll continue to take care of us. I truly believe that. It's just sad whenever you get attached to to, you know, something like a plot of land or a home, or the sentimental value of, you know, where your pet is buried. So it's just a super, super sucky situation. But yeah, everything got put on hold this month. All the projects, all the things, because for a week or so we had people only interested in the pasture, which would have worked out for us. You know, sell 20 acres of the pasture, keep 5 acres of the homestead home lot, whatever you want to call it. We had a couple people come out, look at it, talk to us. Some, you know, we're going to pay cash if they decided to buy it. Some, you know, are waiting for the housing market to go down or crash or whatever you want to call it, which I totally understand that. As a buyer, you know, you want to pay something, you want to pay as cheaply as possible for something. I am the same way. I go to a yard sale and something's marked for 15, I'm going to ask if you'll take 10 or 12 for it. So people, you know, I totally understand that, but inevitably we decided that we're just going to sell the whole 25 acres. So it'll be all right. We had to find a home for Arlo. We still currently have him. Tonight is our last night here on the original IBA homestead. Our really good friends are going to bring him into their family. They also are moving into a new home this month, and they're ready for a pet. So they're going to bring him into their family, and we are ever so grateful. You know, we can trust that he's going to a good home. The week that we decided to sell the property, we ended up selling all of the chickens to a friend of ours. They also bought all of the metal that Emmanuel was using to make the chicken tractor. They bought the chicken tractor. You know, I've sold a lot of my things, just stuff I don't need. I've given some stuff away. I've even had to sell a lot of Declan's things because we are going to have to share storage units with our parents, because no storage unit facility in our area or even remotely within 40 minutes of us has a unit big enough for what we're going to need. We live in an area where everyone keeps everything in storage units for years, and it makes it hard for people like us who just need it temporary for a couple months. It makes it hard to find a storage unit. So we're only having to keep the necessity items because we're having to share storage units. We're short on space. So things like junk knickknacks of mine, they don't need to stay, so I sold them. But unfortunately, things of Declan's that he uses and plays with, I had to sell just because they were bigger items. His play kitchen with all his little pretend cookware and pretend food. His lounge chair with the footrest that was in his room, I had to sell those just because they're bigger items. You know, we're not going to be able to fit them in storage. And it made me sad to see my son's reaction to me selling his things. The kitchen, he came out of his room and we had the kitchen in the hallway, and he went to go play with it and it's not there. He asked me, "Mama, where's my kitchen?" And you know, I had to tell him that I sold it. And then he was here the day that I sold his chair with the footrest, and he cried and he cried. And I told him, you know, we can buy another kitchen, we can buy another chair, but right now, being that we're gonna go live with Grandma, we don't have room for it, so Mama has to sell it. And he said, okay, you know, and I know that toddlers and kids don't always understand everything, but they do understand more than what people give them credit for. So I'm not sure if he fully understood it, but he seems okay now. You know, he's a toddler. He's quick to change focus if you distract him with something. But so I told you about Arlo, I told you about the chickens, the pigs. We sold 2 of the pigs, but we are keeping 3 of the pigs. We're going to move them over to one of Emmanuel's uncles has a space for them. So at least we'll have pork. As for the garden, like I said, all the projects got put on hold. The garden being one of those projects. Y'all know that I started seeds this winter with the intention of transplanting them here in the garden. But then come springtime, we opened up the farm stand, and I ended up deciding to put all of my starters or my seedlings, whatever you want to call them, out on the farm stand, and I sold most of them, you know, made some decent money. So then, because I did that, I had to direct sow here in the garden, but unfortunately about 90% of what I direct sowed did not come up. So then, when I realized that was happening, I started more little seeds that you can see back here on this baker's rack that I'm using as a potting station. Well then, at the beginning of this month, we were unsure if we'd sell or not, so I halted everything in the garden because I wasn't going to be working in a garden that I wasn't going to be able to stay in, and I wasn't going to waste transplants in a garden that I couldn't stay in, so they stayed there. Some of what I did direct sow did come up, like most of the squash plants came up. We have a straight neck squash that is just about ready to be harvested. We have a zucchini about ready to be harvested. The carrots are doing okay. Some of the kale that I traded for, I transplanted that, and those are beautiful. I think I am going to sometime this week come back here and harvest that kale and try to freeze some, but I also want to try my hand at kale chips. I hear they're like a salty bitter taste, so I kind of want to try that. I'm from Louisiana, I like salty things. So the lettuce I direct sowed over here is doing okay. All the tomato plants that I transplanted are doing poorly. All of the bell pepper plants that I transplanted are doing poorly. But other than that, everything, I just let the weeds take over in the garden beds again. But I asked Grandma if I could have a little garden at her house, whether it be raised in kiddie pools or, you know, till up a little spot, throw down some cardboard, some straw, and just transplant some of this stuff. Well, till, transplant, cardboard, straw. But, and you know, she is excited about that. So she's excited about the vegetables. So we still get to have a fall garden, but the spring garden just, I had to let it go just because we were very unsure what the future was going to hold for us. If we could stay on the 5 acres and just sell the 20 or sell the whole 25, we were unsure. Emmanuel had some projects he was working on that got put on hold. So that's everything that's going on with us. We are not shutting the channel down, but obviously being that IBA Homestead will eventually move to a new location, our own location, content may change a bit. You know, it's not going to be what we're doing around the homestead anymore. Now, you may see some videos at Grandma's of us tilling and transplanting and things like that. You've seen that here in multiple videos, so you might not even be interested in that anymore, but it may be, you know, a couple day in the lives or vlogs or cooking or whatever. But this whole thing is a super sucky situation, and sometimes I kind of feel I'm just hanging on by the skin of my teeth, you know, coming to grips with it, and then other times I'm totally fine with it. So content will change for a little while until we get our own land again. You know, there's only so much you can do if you're on someone else's property, you know, living with Grandma. But so we'll still be here. It'll probably be about 1 video a week for the next couple months until we get our own place again. You know, hopefully we can find a couple acres with a small house. Emmanuel's talked about a couple of acres with us putting one of those portable cabins on it and fixing that up. He has an aunt and uncle doing that, and they got a pretty decent sized portable cabin. So if that's something that we could do too, you know, get one that's about half the size of our current trailer, so maybe about 40 feet long, we could totally make that work. I've lived in small places, not a problem, but we don't know what the future holds for us. So we appreciate y'all sticking around. We appreciate your prayers still. Like I said, we have good times and we have down times. It's not the end of the world. It's just a big change. Change is okay. It's just hard to handle sometimes. It's hard to deal with. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it a video. I think I've talked about everything, majorly that happened in the last month. So yeah, like I said, content will change for a little bit until we can get our own land again. But, came to a crossroad to make a decision. That's what we had to do. It just, life goes on. It'll be all right. So, anyway, I can't think of anything else that happened this month. So, I'm going to let y'all go. Please keep us in your prayers. Our mental health, our emotional health. Pray that everything goes smoothly with all aspects of shutting down the business and selling our home. Pray we find a buyer. I have been praying for these last couple weeks that we find the right buyer that'll pay the right price for us. So, yeah. I'm going to go ahead and call it a video, y'all. I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.